Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to the Tuesday stream. Let's do it live. This is BG Codes. Today, I'm going to be working on my Giftex application again and taking advantage of the new Next.js update to version 9. They changed dynamic routing, which was previously a pain in the ass, and I'm going to be taking advantage of those new features. So hopefully we get it done today. Can everybody see me? Everybody hear me? I see we actually have somebody in the stream. All right. Hop on over to my editor. And let's see what we got. I haven't opened this up in a little bit. All right, checking yarn outdated. All right, so next is the thing we want to update from version 8.1 to 9.0.2. Actually, let's make sure the application just runs. So we'll do yarn dev. And I think it's localhost 3000. One day it'll finish. Okay, cool. And let's open up our Firebase console as well. That's something we're going to want to look at. Yeah, so uncaught promise, password is invalid or user does not have a password. So let's see. Maybe in my Firebase console, I don't actually have a user registered. I may have deleted myself. Authentication. I do have a user. Interesting. Let's just delete it. I will re-register myself and make sure this works. All right, there's the register page. Let's make sure I'm typing in the password that I'm thinking of. Okay, great. Yeah, that's me. I got redirected to the groups page where only my groups show up. Great. Now I'm going to log out. Okay, everything completely failed. That's cool. Cores issue. It's okay, let's see if we can actually log in. Okay, great. So log in and log out are working. So what I want to do is you could see each of these groups have a unique baking out Next.js to make this happen. Because what this is actually doing behind the scenes is it's actually sending a query parameter of like ID, and then our custom server is changing that to a slash. So let's pull up the Next.js version 9 documentation, and I'll show you the new feature of dynamic routing. So here's the blog post that talks about it, and I'll link that in the chat for y'all. And here we go. We've got file system-based dynamic routing. So what this means is just like you can create pages and folders in here which relate to routes. So like this groups page is just your base URL / groups. Or if I wanted to make a new group, this is base URL / group or / group new. Now you can do file system based dynamic routing. So here we go. Yes. Creating a dynamically routed page. So creating a page that matches, we're looking for group/ID. We can now create a file in your pages directory named group pid.js. Great. Let's see if we can get this working. So step one, upgrade to the latest. We're going to use yarn upgrade interactive to select what we want. Oh man. Let's see, yarn remove next. And then we'll yarn add next. Joe, what's up, man? Thanks for joining. So this should get us next version 9. And we'll see what breaks. Joe, is it late for you like it is for me? It's 11 p.m. over here in Texas. Let's take a look at some other features that Next 9 released. API routes. This is another thing that I'm really excited about. If you've ever used Netlify, they have this notion of Netlify functions where you just write Lambda functions, throw them in a directory called functions, and then they automatically build them for you and deploy them. Next is kind of doing the same thing, at least the way I visualize it. They have a directory called API inside of your pages directory, and you can just create serverless functions that they'll deploy for you that you can run. Yeah, after midnight over there, man, that's late. As they say, grinding, grinding, grinding. Okay, so we should have next version 9, sick. There it is. Let's give this a go. Make sure it actually runs. Let's see, there was one other feature that I was really excited about. I think it was link. Yeah. Optimizations in production, prefetching in viewport links. So Gatsby, the static site generator, does this. If you hover over a link, it will preload it. And it looks like here, Next is implementing something very similar. They'll preload a link on like when it scrolls into viewport. So that's awesome. It's going to make your site seem really fast, even if it might have actually taken a long time to fetch that data from the server. All right, there we go. Localhost 3000, it's up and running. Home, can I log in? Yes, there we go. It should redirect me to the groups page. Great. And now I can go to each of these groups and get my pretty or clean URLs. Okay, so time to start implementing this. I'm getting a bunch of yellow boxes from my YouTube control room. Folks watching, is this stream like real crappy right now? Let me know. So where was it? Dynamic routing. Yes, so I should make something like group with an ID.js. What's my, yeah, I call it ID. Okay. Let's just make like a really basic thing right here first. We'll save this up. And we will just pop in a React component. Man, VS Code's running slow. And we'll just say like, I don't know. Foo. Group ID page. So how is it passed in? For example, the query object will be PID hello. Okay, which is a prop. Oh, that's in get initial props. Interesting. I wonder if it's passed into the actual component that way. So let's just log out the props and see. And this might not even work, right? Because I think I'll have to disable the custom server. So where did I write the custom server? Server.js. Yeah, so I think I can just get rid of these and restart. So what you previously had to do also works in render. You can skip get initial props by using the router. Yeah, right. Oh, right. It essentially does this for you. This whole thing where you take the query params and you make an object out of your request.params. Okay, awesome. Perfect. So I can do this on the server side or on the client side. So this was the previous solution. You had to make a custom server.js, and then you had to essentially write like Express.js routing rules here to filter out any of these dynamic URLs. So I commented all that out. Now it's just going to do the default handle, where for every route, you just pass it to handle, which is, I believe, from Next itself. So that's gone. These pages, yeah. My old pages don't work. My new pages now do work. Sick. I'm logging props and it looks empty right now, which is weird. We'll get that going in a second. Pop back to the documentation. So I should have a query inside of props. So this is the group ID page. I have props and I'm logging it and nothing is happening. I can delete my whole custom server. Yeah, it wasn't doing anything. Thanks for the guidance, Joe. I really appreciate it. Yeah, it was really just handling these two things. So I'm just going to rename it. I'm assuming it looks for that name specifically. So I'll just call it like old server.js. It's gone. It should be nowhere in there. So it looks like my group ID page isn't actually receiving props for some reason. So let's go back to groups. Actually, that may not work because I'm not persisting sessions. In your render, you can do, router, use router. Hooks? Okay, I should pay attention to the documentation here. Create dynamic pages. Create clean URLs with dynamic routing. Yeah. So Joe is saying I can just do use router, and I'm assuming you can import that from Next. Use router from Next. Cool. And then I'll have router.query. Yeah, I want to log router and see what's there. I'm a curious guy. So there's nothing in props, but I can use hooks to grab that. Okay, some really weird Webpack stuff. Let me just restart this. Server.js is not found. Okay. I renamed it. That's a problem. It's not liking this. I'll put that back the way it was and just comment out my custom routing. Okay, great. It's compiling. It's loading. And now if I log in and hop on over to a group page, I should have a router object. Doink. Come on, come on, come on. I didn't see anything get logged. This is rendering my old page. Be sure to import use router from Next router, not Next. This is probably in the documentation. I just jumped ahead of myself. Yep, right here. Okay, refreshing this from the server side does work. So I get a query and an ID. Great. So then let's see, can I just bring over this entire thing? So this was my previous page. So instead of doing like with router, that's basically the same thing. Your link on that page is rendering the old page. Yeah. Yeah, so instead of passing it as props, the ID, this is a hook. And then ID should then be equal to get rid of with router. And then ID should be equal to router.query. We can destructure that. And then this should work as is. Then we can delete this index.js. Let's just name it whatever. We'll see what happens. With router still works. Okay. Yes, you're not deprecating old behavior. You're just handing us a hook and eliminating the need for a custom server. Awesome. Yeah, and now I no longer require so refreshing it from the server works. Actually, let's double check. What is this rendering? This is rendering group page. Yeah, this one. Let's just rename this for the sake of clarity. Just so I know. Group ID page. Yes, it's rendering the proper component. Sick. So let's figure out why removing server.js breaks everything. Everything looks good here. We're going to just change this back to group page. And then we can get rid of this random thing, this old one. I need to update my package.json. Your dev script is probably node server.js. Money. Joe, you're saving me so much time. I appreciate it. Yes, because when you run a custom server for these clean URLs, you had to change this to actually run that server.js file. Dev is now just next.dev. And now I can wipe out the entire server.js file. No problem. Yep, makes a lot of sense. This is a much easier implementation and workflow here. Yeah, router is required in group page, but its value is undefined, right? I no longer have props in group page because I'm using the hook. So I'm just going to get rid of them and get rid of prop types. Amazing. Look at that. We've got the group page. Perfect. Now, here's one of the things that I really want to test. I want to be able to have a page called group/new. And I want to know if this is going to match as an ID or if it's going to properly route through to my, create a new group page. It worked. So this, maybe your hook and maybe your path to regex map is smart enough to say, hey, if you have a specific file in this directory, don't match the dynamic route. Maybe Joe can provide a little bit of input here. But it works fine, so I'm assuming that they just look for file names without the square brackets first and prioritize those first, and then check those square brackets. So this has been super easy. This might be a short stream tonight. Maybe I work on cookies or something like that. So let's see, I'm on the groups page, logged in as myself, and if I refresh, yeah, this is going to freak out because I don't actually pass credentials as cookies or anything like that after a user logs in. So I need to figure out the Next.js way of handling authentication, persistent authentication state. Specifically, maybe cookies. Nookies, a set of cookie helpers for Next.js. That is hysterical. Wow. So yeah, so get initial props is going to run server side. Don't forget to update your link on the groups page, says Joe. Here's my groups page. Yep. So I can get rid of the as. And just do it like that. Let's double check that. Yeah, so this gets simpler as well. Awesome. So this means now I should be able to, I still need as. That seems weird. Why would I need as? href PID. Oh, I see. As that. So the href goes to the file that you're looking for. And the as puts the data in there. Let's make sure this works. Again, I have to go through the login process because I don't persist logins. So where's this actually going to? So is there any way to like copy link? No. Oh, this may be an accessibility issue. I feel like the link component wrapped around the A tag. So is this going to work? Yes. This makes me super curious. Like what happens if you just do this? Make the href exactly the path that you're looking for. The server's not going to be able to find the file to render. And I'm assuming I'm going to get a 404. Okay, we log in. We get groups. We go. And it still actually works. So what's the difference here? There's two options. Both seem to work. But I don't understand the difference. Look at the documentation a bit. Notice a server render occurred. Yeah, right. Which will be more costly than a client render. Yep. Client-side routing and server-side routing. Yeah. Yeah, so it's like you like option 2 is like you refresh the page or just open up a blank browser window and navigate to that URL, which that's going to take the performance hit of doing all the server-side stuff. Whereas using the as will do a client-side route, which only reloads the necessary modules. Option 2, 404s on client side, but finds it for a server render. Oh, okay. Oh, so I can actually look at like my network tab and see it barf there for a second. William, what's up, man? So let's see, this is currently running option number 2, which is the server-side render. Oh, I don't know if this actually matters when I'm not in production. Okay, but I get the concept. And this will work in both places, client side. Well, yeah, this is a client side route. That's all there is to that. Cool. Turn on preserve log and try again. Do not clear log. Oh, yeah, that'll do it. Okay, so here we go. 200, 200, 200. I'm going to restart. Just clear everything out. Okay, log in. Now we're going to clear. Preserve log is on. It's running option 2. All 200s here. Oh, all requests. Ha ha ha. Yep. We have 404s for that. Okay, cool. Thanks, guys. That makes a lot of sense. Alrighty, so I think we're good here. It's 11:45. I'm probably going to shut it down. Maybe tomorrow I'm going to look into how to pass cookies to get initial props so that when I log in with Firebase, I can get my token, set that token in a cookie, and then send that cookie along anytime I do server-side requests. So let's say you're just navigating directly to a groups page. It'll know who you are, know if you have access to see it, and make the right choice. I have a feeling that's going to push me to have to create a custom server.js again. I have a feeling. But we'll see. Loving these dynamic routing features, the file system-based dynamic routing features just introduced in Next.js version 9. Thank you to Joe and William for joining. They've helped a lot with my transition and adoption of Next.js. So really appreciate it, you guys. Zeit is great with customer support. And thanks for everybody who watches. I'll catch you all in the next one. Peace.